I'm James Beckwith, President and CEO of Five Star Bank. As a community bank, we believe that open dialogue about the issues affecting our region is vitally important. From the economy to the environment to social issues, we look forward to the conversations and hope you'll join in.
Once a month, Studio Sacramento joins an editorial partnership with the American Leadership Forum, whose mission is to unite, strengthen, and serve. Since 1997, ALF has brought our region's leadership together for the betterment of our community, building relationships across professional and political boundaries. Annually, ALF honors those individuals who embody the best of its ideals through their values and deeds. In 2012, Sacramento attorney Joe Coombs, Woodland Vice Mayor Tom Stallard, and El Dorado County Office of Education Superintendent Vicki Barber have been chosen to receive the region's Exemplary Leader Award. Today, they join us to talk about leadership, their journeys, and our region's future. So Tom, how do you define leadership?
Well, I think leadership involves listening, it involves enabling, and involves follow-through. So for me, I try to listen daily for what I feel is, I'm seeking inspiration for how I can engage and be useful and perhaps help others around me.
And how would you define your leadership style?
Well, I like to think of myself as catalytic. Personally, I don't really feel I'm that extraordinary.
Are you like the sand in the clam that makes the pearl? Or as the gadfly that makes the elephant jump?
I'm probably more like the gadfly, but I'll think about the sand and the pearl. I engage in a lot of places where I try to bring out the best in others. When I talk about enabling, I try to help people who I feel have ability to get in positions where they can utilize those strengths. And in my own businesses, I try to backfill myself from my weaknesses, which are considerable. And fortunately, I've been successful.
Vicki, what's your definition?
You know, I love Tom's. That's great, and I think I would echo a great deal of that. I'm probably very much drawn to servant leadership. I love the book that Hunter wrote that he talks about that we think of most organizations as being pyramids with the leader on top. And what he presents is really, you know, turning that on its head. And that the leader is the one who is responsible for serving the greater good, to make sure that things happen, to influence, to build those relationships so that we can move forward for helping all of our citizenry, whatever issue or area that we're addressing. So that's probably the concept that I embrace.
Right. Joe, when you hear their words, when you think about leadership and the span of your career, how much does just pure relentlessness and the willing to take risk and stick with an issue come into play in terms of really driving something for the betterment of one's community or whatever endeavor they're in?
Well, I think it's a question of opportunity. Sometimes the opportunities are not there for various reasons. But I think leadership is, from my view, leadership is a spectrum of how you react to people and situations. And that spectrum may entail authority, or it may entail passive observance, and all in the middle. There's mentoring, teaching, team playing, being a coach, and so forth. But I don't think you can really identify leadership unless you do it in hindsight. And that is, the hindsight is, how have you influenced the people in your life, the people that you've come in contact with, the people in your community? And in that sense, we're like little subatomic particles. We're constantly interacting, and every interaction changes every party to that interaction. So I try to focus on how am I going to affect the lives of the people that I come in contact with.
Well, see, that raises an interesting point, because there has always been a bit of an argument as to whether or not leaders are born or whether they're made. Now, your first job was taking the tassels off corn.
Correct.
Okay, when you were when
In
you
Iowa.
were a wee girl in Iowa, and both of you were paper boys. Okay, so was leadership present in all three of you way back when, and so you were born with it, or is it something that we develop over time?
I think it's really some of both. I think that you do have, there's some innate attitudes and skills that folks come, up with, and I think that clearly leadership can be developed, and so you can contribute to really making those skills become more to the forefront and moving them forward and giving folks, as Joe mentioned, that opportunity, and I think that's also part of making it happen.
And for purposes of talking about stepping out, because one aspect of leadership is being willing to take on a stand on a difficult issue. And Vicki, I will pick on you for just a second. One story that I've heard about you is that a couple of years ago there was a real tough issue facing the state, and that there were folks who were putting some pretty charged signs up over freeways in your neck of the woods up in El Dorado County. And even though it didn't really have anything directly to do with the County Office of Education or your position in the community, you stepped out on that. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Well, I think, I believe very strongly that education, just like every industry, is not a pillar in and of itself. It needs to be part and parcel of the entire community and part of our whole fabric. And so we saw the need to really be part of the solution. We believe—
Define the problem first for those of us that don't know it very well.
We had some folks that were identifying particular segments of the community, having hate messages regarding those segments of the community, and that isn't appropriate in any community. It certainly isn't appropriate in terms of being close to our schools.
And the community was the gay community?
It was the gay, homosexual sense that with great judgment and just hate messages.
And so this was during Prop 8 around that time? Or?
It was many years ago, correct.
Many years, okay.
Correct.
All right.
And so we felt that really in terms of the vast majority of our citizenry, regardless of what your beliefs are, and we weren't asking people to change their beliefs, we were asking people to make sure that we deal with each other with civility, with respect, and that people's rights need to be part and parcel of how we deal with each other. And more than anything, there needs to be a sense that we are an entire community. And we'll have all sorts of different beliefs. So again, not asking people to check those at the door, and how we deal with each other, the civility by which we conduct ourselves is absolutely critical. So faith community joined us, certainly business joined us, educational and civic leaders joined us in really trying to change that message. And I think it was effective in terms of bringing people together.
How do you bring people together, Tom?
Well, first of all, I think there's an important role for humor in all relationships. And sometimes if you can just break through the crust of seriousness that would seem to have us all polarized and recognize our commonalities, and humor seems to get us there faster than most other things, that works. And I've made a point in my interaction with others to often throw out a little quip or something simply to lighten the mood a little bit. I think it allows us to relax, sit back a little bit perhaps, and then maybe we can regain some perspective and find our common ground.
And finding common ground is always at the center, especially of leadership in a diverse society like the one that we live, both in this region, but also in California. Do you find, Joe, that the diversity, some say that diversity is a strength, others say that all it does is further balkanize our society. In your travels, What have you found?
I've found that diversity is a strength because it's a strength of ideas. Our law firm, for example, had a culture of being very diverse. So diversity is a strength in that it's a source of creativity and ideas. And as Tom said, if you can define the problem, the first question to ask is, what question should I ask? What's the problem? And if you can define the problem and find the common interest behind that problem, then you can move forward in collaborating to solve that problem. If you define that problem in terms of your own self-interest, then you have a problem. And I think you're more likely to get a variety of approaches that you can choose, that you can evaluate from having a diverse economy and a diverse society.
And in terms of your own, how you've evolved, who inspired you?
I was inspired by mentors in Sacramento.
Who specifically?
Well, Henry Teichert, one.
And how did he inspire you?
And Bruce Allen, for another, the founders of my McDonough, Holland, and Allen. They inspired me because they were unselfish in their concern for this community. They loved their community. And if I can say this, that to me, the leadership is a subset of two other things. Leadership is a subset of character, your values, your ethics, your moral character, but it's also a subset of love. You love your people, you love your mission, you love your community. And the people who inspired me, including Henry Teichert, Bruce Allen, and even today, many people in and out of ALF, they embody that leadership is a subset of love and values.
Well, you talk about love. An aspect of love could be passion. And Vicki, you have been in your role in El Dorado County since 1994.
Correct.
And to me, that makes you a pretty amazing survivor, given the turnover that happens in education and leadership. Obviously, you must be passionate about it. What is it that gets you up every day to go out and hit it hard after, what is that, almost 20 years, 18 years?
Right. And I've been actually with the County Office of Education since 1983. So you're right, it is a long tenure in terms of having that opportunity. So for me, meaning and purpose is in terms of making that difference. And finding that you can impact children. And so what could be better? I have the best job in the world.
What are you most proud of that you've accomplished since you've been there?
Probably I have the greatest pride in what we've done to bring together an entire community, not just an educational community, but seeing education as being part of that whole fabric, as I talked about before. So working with business, you can't have quality education if you don't have good economic development. You can't have quality education.
You'd agree with that, Joe.
So we have to see ourselves as being part and parcel of the entire community. So I think it's in terms of stepping out. And your question before in terms of diversity, I think one of the best things about leadership is being innovative, is looking for different ways to be able to make it happen. So being innovative is much easier when you build a whole team around you that has different experiences, different backgrounds. They see the world differently, and so they can add to that, so that we can change the paradigm, because it's not just doing things the way we've always done it, but trying to make that difference.
And Tom, you've said in the past that sometimes it's not the big things that you do, but it's the little things that you do. and you may not even get credit for it, but there's a bit of selflessness in there, which is part of the essence of what you speak to in terms of love, Tom, or Joe. What, you know, when you talk about just the little things, the little nuances, give us an example of sort of the tiny places where you put a nudge here or a push here that sort of defines your leadership style.
Well, I think probably the area I've had most impact is with the Sacramento Area Council of Governments. In my years as a county supervisor, it was a backwater agency where basically nobody paid much attention to it, and really it wasn't a popular activity to serve on if you were in elected office. And I felt there was great potential to bring us together as a region. And other things were happening at the same time to encourage regionalism, but I felt that was a great place we could make something happen. So little by little, working with individuals on that group, and the biggest thing was bringing in a new executive director, we were able to, all of a sudden, it's like a flower unfolding. All sorts of potential started being realized. The blueprint came out of that, which gave us a 50-year land use strategy.
Blueprint, remind us what the blueprint is?
Yes, the blueprint was a 50-year land use strategy. What we used to do was to take all the transportation proposals from every jurisdiction, staple them together, and call them a plan. Well, that wasn't a plan. And so we felt we needed a land use on which to base our transportation decisions, a land use strategy, and that's what the blueprint was all about. And up to that time, for over 20 years, El Dorado County and Placer County had not even been part of the Sacramento Area Council of Governments. They had pulled out of it. But they realized that, hey, the only way to get to Placer County from Sacramento is something called Highway 80. The only way to get to El Dorado County is something called Highway 50. They wanted to start influencing other jurisdictions, so they rejoined.
So it sounds like that it's about being able to stretch out and find the commonality of interest.
Right.
That common thread that binds people together. I'm curious, what experiences helped form you, Tom, that led to your interest and your passion in trying to make cross-community collaboration a reality?
Well, going back to your question to Vicki some moments ago, I really do believe some of it comes with us, our leadership skills. Some of it, a lot of it, is cultivated through our experience. My parents were aspirational, and they always raised us that way. But when I got to the University of California, Davis, I had entered the candy store. I really was so excited. I mean, it's all of a sudden like I felt like I came alive, and I expressed such gratitude to the people of California for supporting public education, public higher education. It's a source of grief to me today that we do not do it. But anyway, Emil Marak was the chancellor at the time, and I have here the catalog from 1964. I love this thing, but it had this quotation on the back. May I read it?
Sure, please.
This is from Emil Marak, the chancellor, on leadership. The ability and willingness to take responsibility, to go to the lonely outposts of thought and action, and to persuade others to follow you there. Truly, this ability is the rarest of commodities in the world. Well, it goes on, but I had no idea what he meant by the lonely outpost of thought and action. I had never even considered what that was. So I wanted to find out, and in the course of 4 years and then later 3 more years at the law school, I certainly got a wonderful introduction into what possibilities were. And I saw, by example, many people who were doing great things, and while I didn't know if I could do great things, at least I could help make great things happen. That's what I've tried to do.
Joe, you know, as you look over the span of your career, what gives you hope today in terms of where we are, state of the region, since you've invested so much time and effort into it?
The way I've seen the region evolve is and I've been fortunate to see it from the standpoint of having had a leadership role in the primary organizations that are now focused around regional thinking and regional action. That's the Chamber of Commerce, Sacramento Area Commerce and Trade Association, the ULI District Council, Valley Vision, and ALF. And I've seen the region go from organizations that had an idea had ownership of certain areas of interest and ideas to a region where people are freely sharing ideas and collaborating. And a region that is benchmarking itself as we speak. There's a chamber-led delegation in Denver benchmarking Sacramento against Denver. The Sacramento papers a couple of days ago benchmarked California against the world economies. California is 9th. Sacramento is 58th, tied with Bangladesh. Now,
I'm not sure I like the sound of that.
No, but I'm thinking I think there's an ability by benchmarking and by collaborating around ideas to set the bar high for excellence. For example, if we are the state capital of the 9th ranked economy in the world, but we're only 58th with Bangladesh, certainly we can do better. And I've had the opportunity to spend some time in major cities with government officials in Tokyo. Tokyo benchmarks itself against a great many cities around the world in something like 25 to 50 different categories, because their benchmark, their bar is to be #1 or not within the top 3 or within the top 5, measured against other world cities that they aspire to be.
Tom, what about you? What gives you hope for the future?
Well, I just see so many good things happening. Right now, Sacramento's economy is challenged. California is lagging the country, and the Sacramento region is lagging California. I'm so grateful for the Next Economy project that so many people are working on to say, we're not going to accept this. We can do better. We have everything we need here to be as good as we can possibly be. So I have a lot of hope that we're going to figure it out. Now, things like our institutions, to me, are getting a lot more sophisticated. We're starting to develop concepts about economic clusters that can work. And we're working together. There's many, many partners involved in Next Economy. And that's what's really different from the past. I mean, the Metro Chamber might have its initiative, somebody else might have their initiative. Now we work together collaboratively. And that's, to me, what regionalism is all about. One of our current initiatives at the Sacramento Council of Governments is a shared services initiative. In other words, maybe we can work together. Maybe we don't all have to have an individual corporation yard. You know, maybe we can share facilities. Maybe we can save money for our taxpayers and continue to put money where we need it, like keeping libraries open, maintaining recreation programs for our youth and things of that sort.
Well, speaking of youth, now you've shared this with me before. What inspires you? What gives you hope for the future?
Well, it has to be in terms of going into schools and seeing young people and seeing, you know, the eagerness, the enthusiasm, the spirit, the intellect. I mean, they're fabulous. I mean, we get to see the best of the brightest, and that is fabulous in terms of seeing young people. The other piece I would add, though, and I really appreciate both of the other comments, is American Leadership Forum. I mean, you look at what this group has done, that we all know that relationships change, how things are going to be done. And so forming relationships across this region and having the number of folks that are fellows at this point, we're seeing the tipping point. We're seeing lots of connected.
We should let in our friends on knowing exactly what American Leadership Forum is, because we talk a lot about it. Right. They help us produce a number of our shows, but we don't really talk about what they are. Tom, tell us, what is the American Leadership Forum?
Well, you know, I would say we're like cats to some extent. You know, we're not easily herded. We're individuals, but we come together and have a unique experience for a full year. It's called a class. And in that year, you're with approximately 25 other people who have demonstrated through their accomplishment, their commitments to, let's just say, the good of the order, the area and the region. And in that year, we basically meet monthly for a full day. We get to become very close with each other.
And that type of collaboration and the relationship building is what is building some of these networks that are elevating and improving the region. I wanted to ask you in our final seconds, in terms of looking at your own leadership journeys and those who one day aspire to be exemplary leaders, what advice would you give them? Show them the way. What would you say?
Yeah, a good friend of mine gave me a little placard that says, "Do right and fear no one." And that's probably become my watchwords. Do right.
All right. Tom?
I would just say engage. You know, if you want to be more than you are, go out and seek out opportunities. I mean, it may be cliche, but networking comes from engaging. And I find I enjoy my experiences so much because I love the people I meet in consequence of being part of them.
Mm-hmm. And Joe, when you look back over your career, what would you say to someone who aspires to have the impact that you've had on California?
I would say, think of yourself as a problem solver. There's always a better way to do something. Don't look at how it was done in the past necessarily. Look at every problem as an opportunity, and be humble enough to know that you will never know everything. And so you need to learn, but you need to engage others, and you need to learn from others as well.
And that being humble part, you know, as you go higher up on the food chain, it would seem that that's sort of the touchstone to reality that I think are good, wise words for all of us to follow. I want to thank you all for being with us today and congratulate each one of you on winning this fantastic award. Thank you for your service to the region, and we know that there's much more in store to come. You're not done yet.
Can we slide in a thank you to you, Scott, also, because
Yeah.
you do such wonderful work in this region and have been a tremendous leader. So thank you for the opportunity to join you today.
Well, you heard that one, folks. And with that, that is our show. Thanks to our guest and to the American Leadership Forum for its editorial partnership. And finally, thanks to you for watching Studio Sacramento. I'm Scott Syfax. See you next time right here on KVIE.
I'm James Beckwith, President and CEO of Five Star Bank. As a community bank, we believe that open dialogue about the issues affecting our region is vitally important. From the economy to the environment to social issues, we look forward to the conversations and hope you'll join in.